I realized a long time ago that everything that I did in the arena had to be a little bit more about somebody else, something else, and not just about me. And that's really where I came up with the cowboy in pink. Now, normally when I compete, pretty much every time the last 15 years, I'm in a bright pink shirt with all the company logos and all the stuff. I kind of look like a NASCAR driver of a cowboy. But I realized very on that I wanted to use my platform to go do something big and to try to help people and try to motivate, to try to make them better. And for me, it didn't start out super flamboyant. This is a picture of my wife, my kids, my family. Every single thing that I do in my life revolves around my God, which is Jesus. Number two, my family. As you guys get older, that'll mean more to you. Right now, you just got parents that harp on you and teachers that say, did you do this? Did you do that? But as you get older, realize that it's going to be about something bigger than yourself. Right now, it could be about competing and doing amazing or making the football team or getting a good grade or working the ranch or the farm. But eventually, it should be about something more than that. My goal when I was a young man was to get out of the environment that I lived in. This is kind of where I started. My mom was actually pregnant with me in this barn. My mom, my dad, my two brothers lived in this stall right here, and there was no running water inside the barn. There was electricity, as you can see, there's electricity up there, but my mom and my dad and my two brothers lived here, and then we had horses and cattle in the barn. And so when I say I came from less than not a lot financially, I'm talking below the bottom of the barrel. Whatever situation you might be coming through. You might say, oh, it's tough. We don't have enough money to go to this barrel racing. We don't have enough money to go do this or that. Wherever you're at, I understand where you're at. I have been there because I know what it is like to go without food for days on end. This is where I came from. Now, when I was living in that environment, my dad was a horse trainer. If you know anything about roping horses, they sell for a lot of money now, but in 1983, you would spend 3 years on a horse that you would sell for very little money. It was a love. It was a passion. My dad was a trainer. And so what I did was learn how to work very hard for very little pay and then ended up working like 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day. Your whole life revolved around keeping the farm going, keeping money in the bank just to pay the bill. And guess what? For me, the wolf was always at the door to keep the feed bill paid, to keep the horses taken care of, to keep the cattle alive. It was always at the door. And pretty soon, when I got a little bit older, I'd ask my dad, I said, Dad, why don't we get a new tractor? Because back in these days, we had this super old tractor, and we have to pull it with our truck every day to get it to start. And it was crazy. And we'd spend an hour trying to get the arena work so we could work our horses. And he would always say, do you know how much that cost? Do you know how much money that is? And so when I was about this age, I decided if everything costs money, for me, at a young guy, is like, couldn't I set my mind on achievement and growing and getting better and earning more and becoming more than just essentially, for me at this time, a farmhand? I cleaned the stalls, I watered the horses, I doctored the cattle. I got up super early in the morning and then worked 18-hour days to wind up at zero again and not have anything. And so for me, I began a life of like, hey, how can I get better? How can I grow? If I want to make the National Finals Rodeo, how can I make the National Finals Rodeo? If I want to meet the President of the United States of America, how can I meet the President of the United States of America? If I want to get in front of a sponsor, how can I get that done? And so one thing I'll tell y'all, no matter where you're at, take the negative thing in your life, the thing that you think is a negative, like I don't know how I'm going to do this, or I want to be this successful, or I have this dream, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. Instead of saying I can't do something, turn it into a question. How can I? You take a negative statement. I don't have enough money. How can I have enough money? I don't know how to get to college. I don't know how to pay for college. How can I get to college? Any negative statement that you have, turn it into a positive question and let that fuel the fire. At this stage of my life, I began thinking how can I? But I was kind of like the oddball here. You see my brother Wes, he was the young athlete winning all the amateur titles. My older brother was like the stud of the family. He could do 42 hanging pull-ups, 4-4 40-yard sprint. Like he was the freaking athlete. My middle brother, very good athlete, very good college athlete. And then there was me. I liked MC Hammer. On the farm, I liked MC Hammer. You can't really see it, but I had red hair, a mullet, and I had MC Hammer pants on and probably a hand-me-down shirt. So I liked MC Hammer. And the reason I liked MC Hammer was because I grew up in the inner city with my mom until my parents got divorced. I was really young. The things I did was skip school, steal, and get by with whatever I could. And then when I got to be about this age, I was so bad in school every learning disability class, couldn't read, couldn't write, that my mom said, hey, you're going to move to the farm with your dad, and he's going to straighten you out. Essentially, that's what happened. But right here, I was the odd man out. My dad and my brothers, they were all calf ropers. They were doing very well. I, at this point, was a little kid who liked gangster rap music and MC Hammer. And it's funny now looking back, but that was a blessing, being a little bit different than these guys. It was a blessing for me because it allowed me to see things different. Sometimes you think, well, they don't get me, or they don't understand what I'm going through or what I want to achieve or what I want to do because my parents, you know, they didn't have this way or that way. You're in a different environment, and being a little bit different is the good thing, which is where I found the cowboy in pink. Which is where I found, hey, I'm going to do something a little bit different that looks funny to all the other guys. I'm going to wear this pink shirt all the time to build a platform and to raise awareness for breast cancer and all forms of cancer. I'm going to do it because I want to help people, but it made me different. It made me different, allowed me to stand out. Guess what happened when I was able to stand out? I got more TV, I got more media, I got more stories, and I didn't even mean it. I totally stumbled on it by accident. I did it for my stepmother. She had 2 grapefruit-sized tumors on her ovaries. And I said to her, I was like, Mary Beth, I'm going to wear a bright pink shirt for you at the National Finals Rodeo, all 10 rounds, just for you. And she was down, she was sad, and it put a massive smile on her face. And because I wasn't scared of being a little bit different, I changed somebody else. I seen how good it made her feel. And then because I was doing something good, I believe that God rewarded me with a lot of publicity. It helped me get my name out in there. It helped me get sponsors. It helped me do a lot of stuff. And then I just correlated. I was like, okay, I work hard, I do good things, and good things happen in return. But I don't expect it to happen in return. I just do good things, go out above and beyond, try to help, try to motivate, try to push, try to inspire, and good things just come back to me. And that's something I've lived my life on. And I think it all started when I was little because I was different than everybody else. And I didn't look at different as bad. Different was good. Yeah, man, it led to some insecurities. I didn't believe in myself for a long time. I thought I was no good. I thought I was dumb as a box of rocks because I couldn't read till I was about 14. I thought that I probably would never make it, you know, because I love my dad, but his form of motivation was, you're never going to make it. You don't work hard enough. You're not tough enough. You're not good enough. And I actually listened to that, but I didn't learn until later. I'm like, that's just his vocabulary. He didn't mean that, but it did sink into here. Okay, it sunk into here. And so a couple things I want to regroup with you guys is like, if you know something's right in your heart, you should never be afraid of what other people think. You should never be afraid of what somebody says, even if they make fun of you. Hey, I get made fun of all the time. You should have seen it when I first started wearing pink all the time. They made some funny jokes, I'm telling you. Guys that I actually looked up to when I was younger and I came in on the scene, they made fun of me. But I didn't let it deter me because I knew it was right here. It's kind of like your walk with God. Your faith in Jesus, right? If you love God, you should never be afraid to say, hey, I love you, Jesus. Thank you for blessing my life. Thank you for helping me through this hard time. Thank you for allowing me to stay motivated. Thank you for giving me the power to go and achieve. Thank you for giving me the power to spread your name to somebody else. You should never be ashamed of that. You know, when I won the world championship, they weren't super happy about, on some TV stations, people saying, thank you, Jesus, and Jesus this, Jesus that. I was just like, I don't care. I don't care what they say. I don't care if a sponsor doesn't want to sponsor me because I'm verbal about my belief in my God. That's not going to happen. You got to have that conviction in your heart that says, hey, I want to go do this thing, and nobody's going to deter me because you know what? If I got God on my side, who else needs to stand with me?
Hey, do me a favor. If you like this video, let's you and me make a deal. Let's shake hands. Yeah, that good, firm cowboy handshake. If you like this video, do me a favor. Share it with somebody. Subscribe to the channel. And my end of the bargain, I will bring you everything I know about being a high performer, a world champion, and an entrepreneur. If that sounds like a fair deal, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment too, because I'm going to answer every single comment that comes in on this video.
Now, there was a lot of years between that right there and the future. The future came about 10 or 12 years later when I developed the ability to go out and achieve. You know, remember how I said earlier, I was like, hey, we don't have enough money. How can I get enough money? God presented an opportunity for me. Shoeing horses. I'm about 16 years old there, maybe 17. That year I made $33,000 profit shoeing horses. I said, if I want to get out of this ranch, I want to go compete and be the best in the world, be the best on planet Earth, I need a high income skill. That does not include cleaning stalls for the rest of my life. That does not include working the ground for the rest of my life. I need a high income skill. If you guys are here and you want to go out and maybe buy your own house and buy your car. I mean, remember when I was some of you guys like, man, getting a car? If I could get a car, develop high income skills. There's more for you than the base. Don't let anybody ever discount you because you're young. Just because you're young doesn't mean that you don't have skills, you don't have value, you don't have the ability to go out and do great things. I literally know 14-year-olds who are millionaires online right now. Well, they're not 14 now, they're 18, but I started knowing them when they were 14. How many of you guys are 14 years old or older in here? Okay, hands up, come on, don't be shy. We ain't shy around here. There we go. And I don't want this to be about money. I'm just saying for me, we were so poor. When you don't have any money and you can't afford to eat, the only thing you're thinking about is how do I get ahead? How do I become better? How do I learn more? This was my first high income skill, shoeing horses. Now I had to become a salesman. When I rocked up at 13 to this person's barn, I was like, hey, I'll shoe your horses. They're like, what do you know? You're 13 years old. I would have to come up really creative. And this, y'all that are young, trying to get out and do your thing, you got to get creative. What do we never take for an answer? We never take no for an answer, right? Do we take no for an answer? Do we take no for an answer? No. No is not in our vocabulary. We have to just overcome that no to get to a yes. So I rock up 13, 14 years old. I would hire like the juniors and seniors to drive me to these people's house to try to sell them on why they should use me shoeing a horse, right? So I'd rock up at this house and I'd have the senior waiting in his car. Like he was my chauffeur. The senior was my chauffeur. It was really cool. I loved it. I would get to the appointment. The guy would say, I'm not going to let you shoe my horse. I said, you know what, sir, have you ever had the shoes fall off your horse before? And they're like, yeah. And I can never get the shoer to come back and put the shoes back on my horse's feet. After they fall off, they never come back. I said, I'll guarantee them for 8 weeks and I'll be back the next day if you give me a phone call. Guess whose business I got? I got a lot of business by being creative and understanding what all the other shoers were taking for granted, by showing up on time, by guaranteeing my shoes for 8 weeks. And if one ever fell off, I would rock up the next day and have that sucker back on. They didn't have to pay me. It was free of charge. That equaled $33,000 that year. The next year was slightly more than that. By the time I went out rodeoing, I had a large nest egg to be able to go and compete, National Finals Rodeo. I got my butt kicked for 2 or 3 years, and then I finally broke through the ice. And let me tell y'all, it was hard. I spent all my life savings. I maxed out every credit card. I lived in the backseat of my truck. I begged and borrowed, did everything I could to get to my goal. But I didn't take no for an answer. And I never gave up. And the one little thing that I'll tell you, my dad came to me. He said, son, I see you cleaning the stalls, take care of the horses and the cattle, saddle and unsaddle. That was our job. We rode 25 horses a day, so it was pretty much a full-time job. And so he said, I see you doing all this stuff, but what I don't see you doing is practicing yourself. You're working hard and you're saving your money and you're doing everything right, but I don't see you training enough, like at your skill at roping. And I'm like, what do you mean, Dad? He's like, well, you're done working for me at like 9, 10 o'clock at night. He's like, what do you do with all your spare time? And I'm like, I have from 10 to 6 a.m. That was my window of like my spare time. And all my high school buddies, guess what they were doing? My high school buddies were spilling that 10 to midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning range. They were filling it with drinking, partying, girls, all this stuff. Guess what I did? From 10 to 1, I was roping. I was working on me. My flanking and tying. I was working on my horsemanship because I worked all day for my dad. That was his time. I would get up. If I got done a little early, say about midnight, I would get up at 4:30 a.m. and I would practice for 2 hours before I then had to feed the horses and the cattle and then jet to school. As I got older, I flipped that. I worked on me first and the to-do list last. But at your age, how much time do we spend on Instagram? How much time we spend on TikTok? How much time are we spending on all this stuff? I'm going to tell you, social media is a good thing. But we all know the devil can twist anything around. Now, say I got a hammer. What can I build with a hammer? Somebody, you're yawning, you got to answer. What can I do with a hammer? Build a house, great. What else could I do with the hammer? I could hit somebody with it. Yeah, he said, what? My point is, you can do whatever you want with social media. You can utilize it as a learning platform. You can utilize it as following people motivate, lift, and push and inspire you. Or you can use it to compare your real life to somebody's fake life that they post out there. I promise you, if they're posting all that perfect stuff, we all know that there was only one perfect person, that was Jesus. That's not any of us. So all those perfect photos and videos that they're posting is fake. So never compare your real life to somebody's fake life that they post on social media. Instead, use social media to talk about God. Use social media to motivate, lift, inspire somebody. Use social media to teach something that maybe you know. Maybe you know a lot about football. Maybe you know a lot about ranching, roping, horses, football. Share something that you've learned about something that you know a lot about, and then see how it helps and benefits somebody else. Are we capable? Give me a yes. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. And so when it's time to go out in the world, never feel like you're alone. I'm here to tell you, Jesus has got your back in every circumstance. He'll never let anything happen to you that you can't overcome. I've had a lot of bad things happen in my life. When I was this age, I never smiled. My parents were divorced at a young age. Hey, look at me now. Look at me now. There's a story in that. Look at me now. See that? Got a nice smile, don't I? Had to work for it. When I was this age, I say, I got to learn how to rope because this is my way out. You know how like some of the inner city kids, they play football, basketball because they want out of that life? This was my way out to a better life. Where I grew up, good people, great people, but it was hard. I mean, it was hard. We didn't even have like electric heat. I had to go cut firewood to stoke the fire. It was hard. Not a fun life. This is world championship level. And so the ability to overcome and to have a growth mindset and to never take no for an answer is how I went from there to here to here. See these teeth? Said I never smiled. When I was 19 years old, I had my front teeth knocked out several times. I had a root canal done and a cap put on. I busted that one out too. And so I just had a half of one tooth and it was black. And they didn't look like this now. I rarely smiled. I never wanted to be the one in the spotlight. I never wanted to be the one that was like the leader or in front. I wanted to sit back and be quiet so I could be a good boy. Sit back and be quiet. And one day, there was this dentist. It was a client of my dad's. And this dentist said, hey, Tyson, he's like, I need you to train a horse for me. And I'm like, okay, no problem. He's like, your teeth are kind of messed up. He's like, you want to do some trading? And I'm like, jackpot, baby. I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll trade you 4 brand new front teeth right here for 6 months riding on a horse. He took it. Tim Bagnell gave me all brand new teeth for 6 months riding on a horse. And now I smile all the time. And it's the ability to never take no for an answer. I could have sat back and said, you know what? Chewing tobacco, drinking beer, drinking whiskey, talking about how everybody else has got it all right. Could have sat back and that could have been my life. But the ability to never take no for an answer because I have a growth mindset. Because I know what I want to go do. I know that my legacy and my impact helps so many other people. I'm doing it for my wife, my kids. I'm doing it for y'all. I want to see y'all at the NFR. I want to see y'all winning. I want to see y'all kicking some butt, no matter what that is. And I want to be able to watch you be successful on TV someday or some, newspaper and say, man, I helped that person just that much. Because I believe that helping people is the truest form of happiness. One of the things that I'll share about you is my wife is my greatest motivator. My wife is the one that pushed me. She made me write down I will be a world champion on the bathroom mirror, on the fridge, in my truck, everywhere. So not only I had to see it, but everyone around me that came in my life had to see it as well. They see my goals. This horse changed my life. This is Nico. He was taken from me way too soon, not long after I won a world championship on him. But that horse took me to another level. This was my trainer when I was competing in top 5 in the world consistently. Jay Novacek, 3-time Super Bowl champion and MVP. My thing is with this, you can't do it alone, y'all. If you want to get somewhere and get somewhere fast, you have to find somebody who is where you want to be and time collapse off their knowledge. Does anybody know what time collapse means? It means getting there way faster by not having to learn all the mistakes yourself. You can learn from your own mistakes, but that's gonna be the slow approach. The fast approach is, I'm gonna learn from this person, avoid my own mistakes, and get there 10 times as fast. I would have been a national finals qualifier, but a world champion would have never been it without time collapsing off other people's motivation, horsepower, and knowledge. I would have never become a world championship. You cannot do it yourself.
And if you're a person who's struggling with getting the momentum and getting the ball rolling, I have something amazing for you. It's called the Cowboy Challenge. Down in the description below, I want you to accept the challenge, the Cowboy Challenge, to give you momentum, to give you resiliency, to give you mental toughness, to go on and chase life. And you can check that out. There's also a ton of free stuff in the description below.
Next thing, find new experiences. Guess what will make me crap my pants? Jumping out of a dadgum plane. That will make me crap my pants. For my birthday last year, my wife says, hey, you gotta leave the house at 4 a.m. You get here and you're gonna go do this thing. I'm not telling you what it is, but it's gonna be the greatest birthday present you've ever had. And I'm like, sign me up, coach, because I like new experiences. I like testing myself and doing new things. I get there, skydiving. Oh, that's 14,000 feet down and the air is so cold. It's like the coldest day of winter here times 10. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. But guess what? Homeboy here, he's had 4,600 jumps. 4,600. He said, don't worry, I got your back. You think I could have made it from the airplane to the ground without him on my side? No. Well, good point. Alive? Would I made it down alive? No way. You can't do it alone, guys. You got a goal of being an amazing person, doing something big, becoming a great athlete. making the national finals rodeo, starting a business. You can't do it alone. This guy, 4,600 jumps. I said, he's still breathing? If he's still breathing, I got a good chance just one time getting me down. Now, somebody had to clean my shorts out afterwards, but I got to the ground safely. Next thing, this was a Navy SEAL Hell Week that I did a couple of years ago. So I decided that if I'm Mr. Mindset, I have all of these, I'm teaching people on social media, tell them, hey, believe in yourself and all this stuff and it all. Let's test it. Let's test it. Let's see if I can actually back up what I'm preaching, what I'm teaching. See, I like teaching because teaching is just another opportunity to learn. For me, that's the way I look at it. So why don't I test myself? So this is a Navy SEAL Hell Week. This was early in the morning. We'd spent all night in the Pacific Ocean. It was 49 degrees with 30-mile-an-hour winds. And this was one of the evolution. We come out of the ocean. We're cold, we're wet, we're tired. And I want you to look at everybody's face up here. And I want you to tell me which one of these people didn't make it through. Why would you say the one on the left didn't make it through? Why would you say that? He's wonky. Remember, what you guys put out with your face and your actions, people will affirm. You walk in the room and say, man, these people are talking about me. They're making fun of me. In my case, I was Dirty Durfey because I took 1 bath a week and I worked 18 hours a day in a barn. I didn't brush my teeth. I didn't comb my hair. I wore MC Hammer pants. I was Dirty Durfey. I was an easy target. But had I walked around saying, I'm Dirty Durfey, nobody likes me, I'm not going to talk, everybody would reaffirm that behavior. If you put your chin up, your chest out, say, I'm a champ, I'm a winner. You don't even have to tell anybody, just know it in your heart. They will reaffirm your behavior. The more optimistic you are out into the world will perpetuate that back to you. This guy, he tapped. He didn't make it. He rang the bell. 50% of the men didn't make it through. He didn't make it through. Okay? He was a good guy. But because he put this on his face, the instructors who are Navy SEALs, very, very tough individuals, far tougher than me, they razzed him for it. It was the equivalent of kids making fun of me for being Dirty Durfey. What you put into the world, people will reaffirm. And what they reaffirm will become your identity and who you actually become in life. That's why I put a smile on my face, shoulders back. I believe I can achieve. I'm going to go get it. I'm going to win. Even if I fall short, I'm not going to take no for an answer. I remember when I was your age and I had a school and a guy come and spoke, and then I never seen him again. I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram all the time. I'm on Facebook. I answer every message on Instagram. Hundreds of thousands of people. I answer every one. I'm here for you. If you need something, piece of advice, I mean, sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You would get a message back from me, but I answer every message. I want to help you. My point is, I don't know when I'll respond, but I will respond, okay? Don't put this out in the world. This is a good man. He just didn't understand this concept. He was actually a Marine. He did 8 years in the Marines, served our country. He got out and then wanted to test himself again, then couldn't make it through. So for the rest of his life, he's going to wish he would have not put that on his face. You guys are champions. You guys are winners, but I want to hear it from y'all. We're going to say I'm a champion. The count of 3. 1, 2, 3, go!
I'm a champion!
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 There we go.
Do me a favor, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. I truly will read every single comment on this video. And guess what? If you want to watch another amazing video, check this one out right here. I know that it will serve your life. Take care. Adios.